What's going on, y'all? It's Brandon from Vegas, and welcome back to Won't You Be My Neighbor, the real estate podcast. As always, I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Bill Gaylord. How you doing, Bill?
I'm doing awesome. Ready to roll.
Ready to roll?
Yeah, ready to roll.
What about The Rock?
I love The Rock.
I know you probably didn't grow up watching like wrestling, right? Might have been a little bit past your time, but The Rock came back to wrestling.
Yeah.
And it was like, I was a kid again.
He is in everything. I saw him at the CU game on College Game Day.
Yeah, he's trying to escape those Maui charges.
Oh my God.
You didn't hear about all that?
No, I didn't.
Oh yeah, The Rock and Oprah.
On?
The Rock, it's been a huge TikTok drama. The Rock and Oprah apparently started this like fundraiser for Maui, but then once people realized that these rich celebrities invest their money, but then because it's a 501c3, they get their money back. So they were actually profiting from the tragedy.
Oh boy.
And there was a big stink about it on TikTok. Oprah canceled her comment section. Like it was a thing.
It was not good.
So Rock is on a PR tour of the world.
Okay.
Bring him here.
More importantly than them, we have some grand openings. The Sphere opens end of the month.
Oh, that's right. Who's going to be appearing there?
Freaking U2. Bro, if it was Guns N' Roses or Metallica, I would have paid any amount of money for a ticket.
You got a thing for U2. You just don't like them.
No, okay. Listen,
I don't get it.
Listen, U2.
I mean, there's some good stuff. It's not my favorite, but
from 1988, 89 to like the early 90s, to me, U2 is just like untouchable. Yeah. I love it, man. I played Joshua Tree Out. I even like It's a Beautiful Day, all that stuff, But like when I open a venue in Vegas at the Sphere, I want something I can get drunk and make mistakes to, right? If you're gonna do this gigantic, huge, ostentatious thing, give me Guns N' Roses, blow something up. I want to see somebody get drunk and fall. Like I want that. U2 is just gonna be too much of a calm environment.
Oh man,
Bill, what we want to talk about today is we want to continue solving common problems that we have found buyers and sellers sharing. And as always, you brought me a really, really good topic. And can you tell the audience what it is?
Well, I see it all the time. People are like, they're in their house right now, and it doesn't work. Yeah. It doesn't fit them. They need to do something else, but they're so concerned about giving up their interest rate. And so they're like, should I sell or should I buy? Should I, sell my house and buy a new house? Should I keep my house? Should I rent it? So it's a dilemma right now for some.
It is a dilemma because it's causing a housing shortage because you have a bunch of people sitting in their homes who probably want to buy a new home or get, a new property, move out of state, whatever, but their interest rate is at such a low compared to the current that they're like, how do I leave this behind, right? Yeah. And to keep things interesting today and give you guys two perspectives, one from a lender, one from an agent, I'm going to be taking the side of someone who says, I think you should rent out your current home and then just buy a new one. You may have to put more down, but holding on to that world-class interest rate might be valuable.
Yeah, I'm going to take the take of selling the home and getting into a new one.
Sure.
And I've had 3 buyers that have done that in the past 2 months.
Well, let's start there then. Tell us your stories. Obviously, we can't tell you guys clients' exact names. There's sort of privacy here, but tell us a little bit about the clients and why you thought this was the best decision for them.
Yeah, so life happens, right? Life happens. You get a house, you get into things, and your credit actually goes up.
Okay.
You start borrowing money. You get into student loans to try and improve yourself. You also have car loans. You also get into credit. Credit cards have gone up like this over the past, basically since the end of the pandemic.
Sure.
Credit cards balances have gone way up. And people that have bought their homes in the past 4 or 5 years, their equity has gone up. So they've got a lot of money, gold, sitting in their house right now. And yet a lot of them are just like gurgling with debt and they can't pay all their bills.
Put a pin in that really quickly because you said that something's really valuable. You said they've gained a lot of equity over the past 5 years. One of my favorite things to Google is, do you know what the average equity was from 2020 to 2023? The average American, I don't mean San Francisco, LA, the average American. Would you like to know their average equity?
Do you want me to guess?
Take a guess.
Okay, I'm gonna start at 100,000.
180,000.
That's a gold mine. That's a lot of money.
The average American made $180,000 in equity from 2020 to 2023.
Yeah, and I'll give you my first example. There's a couple that had 2 kids.
Okay.
They went to school. They improved themselves, got into nursing, all that kind of stuff. Student loan debts like up here, car loans up here, credit card debt up here. Ended up working 2 jobs just to try and make the bills, pay the bills.
Sure.
Their kids grew. Their kids grew. So the house that they had was a small condo, and they didn't fit the condo. Okay. There was too many people and too much space, and they were gurgling in debt. And they basically said, we got to get into a new home. So we talked about it. Should they keep the home? Should they sell it? If they kept the home, they would put a minimum down on another property. They would have no money in the bank, and they would have a higher mortgage payment.
Sure.
But yet they would have kept the home. Sure. So basically, we went through the math. We talked about it. They sold their house. They paid off all their debt. They have less debt. They paid off student loans, credit cards, all that kind of stuff, starting from scratch. They bought a home. They got the home that they needed. They have lower payments now monthly. They have a bigger home, and they're very happy. And at the same time, they put away a rainy day fund.
There we go. And so you're saying, just to summarize, that it's contextual. It depends on who the person is. In this situation, they had a family, kids, and you basically gave them the advice of how to use their home as a second bank account.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
And a lot of people, what we try to teach them is that that's what your home becomes over time. It's not just a home, it's a second bank account. Oh, you need $20,000 to fix the backyard or remodel? Guess where you can find that $20,000, you know? You running behind on some loans or some debts, why rack up your credit cards? See what your house has for you. We talk about HELOCs all the time, about how it's a credit card for your house, right? And it's a lot safer to use the money from your HELOC as a credit card than an actual credit card, right?
Correct. So that worked out for them. I have another one right now who just had a baby, and it is a 3-story townhome, and all the living area is upstairs. And so she is carting up baby, car seat, groceries, all that stuff upstairs. And she's like, oh my God, this is not working. And so she wants a home that's more, at least one level, that you can live downstairs. And she's right now struggling. Do I sell? Do I buy? Do I rent? And I think she's going to sell.
That's a smart decision based, again, contextually on the size of her home, how it fits her lifestyle.
It's life.
Right?
It's really life happens and things change. And sometimes, you just have to look out long term for what your best interest 100%.
Is. The big thing to take away, you guys, is that as with everything in real estate, it's very contextual. It's about your lifestyle first. When you're buying a home to live in emotionally, you have to buy the home putting your lifestyle first. If you have a 3-story townhome, it could be great. But if you have a kid and your bedroom's on the top floor and theirs is downstairs, that's not a viable living situation for you, right? And this is why we can't give generalized advice and say, this house is perfect for everyone, because it's different. It's different if you're a single person, if you're married with kids, if you have 3 kids, single kid, right?
Yeah, and it also depends on their financial situation, right?
Sure.
Some people, if they do not have debt or they have money saved for the down payment on the next house and they can rent the house out, they can many times, I mean, that's your side of this story, but they can rent it and use maybe some of the rent to offset the new mortgage payment.
Okay. And that's kind of where I want to lean into, is the financial side of it, right?
Yep.
And because this is real estate at its core. It's the emotional side of it, right? You care about these people's emotions, their lifestyle. You want to make sure you're giving the best decision based on them and not just a generalized piece of advice. For me, and I tend to work with a few investors, so this is where my brain leads. I have a house at a record low, maybe never seen again interest rate, right? Which means my mortgage payments over the past 3 years, and we're not only low, but I've been paying off my mortgage. So they're going down and down and down, right? There's no way any renter is paying less than I am. So long story short, the cash flow is way easier if someone has like a 2.5 or a 3.0 interest rate. Your mortgage could be $1,800 or $2,000, $2,100. And the more, if you live in Summerlin or Green Valley, the rent on your house could be $3,000, $3,500, right? So that level of cash flow, you can't match it. If you were to put 20% down right now on a house, that's still not enough to keep your mortgage below the rental value.
Right.
We're having a lot of investors struggling. They put their 20% down. I run it through a mortgage calculator, and I'm like, hey, you're still not cash flowing.
It doesn't make sense.
You're still owing $200, right? You need to put down 35, 40%. But people who have these very low interest rates, they don't have to go through that struggle.
Correct.
They can look up and say, I'm paying $1,800. It rents for $3,000. That's $1,200, after you pay your property management company, whatever, but it's still close to $1,200. And yeah, they'll have to put down more on the next house. They'll have to put down 20%, right? Maybe they'll take out a HELOC. But once again, I think it's safer to use a HELOC, to use your own money.
Yes.
You're never going to get that interest rate again. You have an asset at a crazy low rate. And I'm always leaning financially, like value the asset, value the asset. Instead of taking on a new higher mortgage, even though you can refinance it, you have an asset in hand right now. And I know this probably doesn't fit everybody's lifestyle. If you're a family with 2, 3 kids, you're more concerned about paying off loans and debts. I get that. But if you're someone who's been sitting in your house for 3, 5, 7, 8 years, and it's just you don't have to worry about the emotional side of it, right? Maybe it's just you and your wife, or just you by yourself, whatever. Look into using your interest rate as a balancing act for your rental property, right? Take advantage of the 2.75, cash flow harder on the back end. Yeah, you'll pay more money on your mortgage on the front end, but you're still making money off your rental, And financially, it just makes sense it makes sense to not have your equity sitting there not going to use. People sitting there with $200,000 in equity, and it's doing what?
Yeah, it's just sitting there. I mean, it is growing, obviously, because of appreciation, but part of it too is, like, let's say some people have a $1,500 a month mortgage payment on the house because it's a real low interest rate, and they can rent that house out for $2,500. That's $1,000, right? That essentially, it's kind of like a buy down on the new house that you're buying, right?
100%.
So you could utilize that rent cash flow to offset your new mortgage payment.
And you have 2 homes.
And you have 2 homes.
We live in a world where I had an investor guy call me.
And that's called leverage.
Yeah, it's called leverage. This is a true story. There's an agent around town. He calls everybody who does a new listing, and he goes, I have cash buyers who are buying 5 to 6 houses per month in Vegas. Are you guys open to it? And I'm like, send us something, right? This guy is buying 5 to 6 houses per month. No one who has a bunch of money is trying to get rid of their house.
No.
Except for Mark Wahlberg, who just sold his house for like $16 million, something crazy like that. But nobody who has a house is trying to get rid of their house. They're trying to collect more houses, right? And so selling a house to buy a new one, I get it. It helps cover some of your back debts. But you know what really helps you with money? Having 2 houses gaining equity in this crazy market.
Yeah.
Because even though that's a rental property, it's still gaining equity. Even though you use the HELOC to take the money out, it's still gaining equity.
Yeah. And part of it, I look at it, I call it the sleep factor. You want to be able to, go to sleep at 100%. Night knowing that you can make your payments. 100%. And you just have to look at your budget and how does it work? And can you sleep at night knowing that you can make those payments? But, stress, I look at it more emotionally. I know that it's always good to look both emotionally and financially.
Yeah. That's real estate, though.
Yeah.
That's real estate. That's why they have you and they have me, right? So they can get both sides of the financial coin and both sides of the emotional coin.
Correct.
Real estate is such a complicated endeavor simply because it's an emotional financial decision. Yes, you're buying the house to make money, but you also want your kids to be safe. You want their rooms to be a certain size. You want the kitchen to look a specific, right? There's a bunch of emotions that go into the purchase.
Correct.
And they sometimes are so strong that you stop caring about the financials. So I always like to be there to be like, hey, wait for a second. I know this, but let's try to make you some money as well.
Yes.
Right?
I agree. And you do. And you do the best negotiator around right there.
We just got, I told you that last episode, right? $21,000 off another.
I know. Yeah. It's like, oh my God, where are you doing this?
Yeah, we're on a roll.
Yes,
we're on a stretch right now. Yeah.
I like it.
I said, y'all better start taking me out to dinner. I'm tired of taking y'all to dinner. I just saved you $21,000 on your appraisal. That's dinner money.
McDonald's, baby.
That is like,
I'll take a Big Mac,
it's
bro.
unbelievable, Brandon. That's just like built-in equity, built-in money. Like, right, you
instantly.
made them $21,000 before they even got
I'm already convinced
into the home.
I'm already convinced them to take it out so we can buy another one. Let's go, baby. keep this ball rolling. Hey, Bill, thank you for your time. We're going to be back for the next episode to talk about another fun topic, but it's mainly going to focus around the fears that come along with a high interest rate.
Right.
So Always gracious for your time. I'm Brandon from Vegas. Bill, tell them how they can reach you.
Boop, right there. BillGaylord.com, very simple. And schedule a consult. We'll just get on a Zoom and talk about your situation.
If you call me, if you fill out the real estate contact form, guess what the first question I'm going to ask you? Have you spoken to Bill yet? No? All right, here's his number. Call Bill. So a lot of times, you guys, if you're watching and you're interested, save yourself time. Just call Bill. The second you call him, he'll call me, and I'll be like, what's up? But just call Bill. Trust me, it's going to save all your time, right? Bill, we'll be on for the next episode. I'm Brandon from Vegas. Thank you guys for your time. As always, come and be my neighbor.
Bye, everybody.